Welcome to another episode of Football Scientific with me, Aaron Sauter. I'm a writer for the UFL News, so we cover San Antonio Brahmas. The CFL News, so we cover the Hamilton Tiger Cats. FootballAnalysis1.com, I covered the Cincinnati Bengals. Also on Football Scientific, we talk about the IFL, the Indoor Football League, the NAL, the National Arena League, and the EL, the European League of Football. Today I'm joined by my co-host, Wolfie D. Wolfie D in the house! Look at our records for predictions this week. Yeah, Wolfie D, we had a pretty good week of predictions. On the NAL, we went 4-0 with our predictions. Whoop, 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 whoop. Let's go, 4-0 in the NAL. In the IFL, we had a tough week. We went 3-3. We had a pretty good week last couple of weeks. Kind of came back and got us a little bit, 3-3. And the UFL, we went 3-1 with our predictions. Let's go. Let's get this going. Let's get this show going. All right. We'll get it going, Wolfie D. We have a lot of game reviews and our updated power rankings coming up tonight, right now. So here we go. DC Defenders, yesterday afternoon, they played the Michigan Panthers at Ford Field. I thought DC Defenders would come out strong defensively and knock out the Michigan Panthers. I was wrong. For the Defenders, quarterback Jordan Teamu went 19 for 36, 259 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. He had 5 runs for 17 yards. He had a QBR 94.6. That's a pretty good game for Jordan Teamu, honestly. Running back Deion Jackson had 10 runs for 47 yards. Wide receiver Chris Roll had 9 catches for 144 yards and a touchdown. That's pretty awesome. Wide receiver Braylon Sanders had 3 catches for 31 yards and a touchdown. Here's the key to the game. The DC Defenders, their feared defense, came out for the second game this year, had 0 sacks and 7 tackles for loss. The last time to do that to the DC Defenders was the San Antonio Brahmas, as we kept them to 0 sacks, and we won that game. That's foreshadowing the outcome of this. Michigan Panthers came out, quarterback Bryce Perkins, probably the best quarterback in the UFL this year, went 13 for 18 for 188 yards and 2 touchdowns. His QBR is a massive 142.8. He played awesome. He had 9 runs for 76 yards and a touchdown. Running back Tua Taua had 19 runs for 94 yards and a touchdown. Running back Nate McCrary, 9 runs, 44 yards and a touchdown. It was an offensive clinic by the Michigan Panthers. Wide receiver Cole Aleshinu. He had 3 catches, 63 yards and a touchdown. Malik Turner had 4 catches, 34 yards and a touchdown. The defense of the Michigan Panthers had 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss. All that together, Michigan Panthers offense was too much for DC Defenders. They shut down the pass rush, and they protected Bryce Perkins, who ripped apart the DC Defenders. Michigan Panthers win 38-14, going 4-2. Both teams are 4-2 now, and they're both tied for first place in their respective conferences. Boom. Next. Yesterday evening, we went to the Brahmas versus Stallions game in Birmingham. I got some shorts there. Check those out sometime. But the San Antonio Brahmas came out struggling as always. Quarterback Kevin Hogan getting his first UFL start with 17 for 26 for 179 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception. Although he did throw 1 awesome touchdown pass that was dropped in the end zone. Quarterback rating was 69.2, not impressive. Running back Jay Sean, he got sacked several times as well. Running back Jay Sean Corbin, they could not establish a running game. Had 6 runs for 14 yards, and that's huge. If you look at my pregame article saying what they need to do to win this game, they need to establish a run game, they need to catch the ball, they need to force turnovers, and they could not do that, okay? They could not run the ball against Birmingham. They could not catch the ball when it counted, wide open in the end zone, okay? Wide receiver Justin Smith was the leader, 5 catches, 108 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 touchdowns. Wide receiver Marquez Stevenson had 4 catches, 40 yards, and a horrible drop. And defensively, the Brahmas did play somewhat decent. They had 4 sacks and fumble recovery. That's 1 turnover. I said they needed 3 in that game to win the game, okay? Birmingham Stallions. Quarterback Case Cook is like an all-star against our struggling Brahmas defense. He went 60 for 23 for 166 yards and 2 touchdowns. He had a QBR of 119.1. It's probably the best game Case Cook has ever played because we weren't hitting him. He had 4 runs, 16 yards. Quarterback Andrew Peasley came and got his first action in the UFL, 5 for 8, 79 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. QBR 95.3, two runs for 10 yards, pretty good. He did get hurt, and that was sad for him. Running back Ricky Person Jr. had 9 runs, 32 yards. He broke our back in the third quarter with some runs and a touchdown. CJ Marable came out, had 14 runs, 27 yards, no touchdowns. But Ricky Person Jr. really broke the Brahma's back in the third quarter. Wide receiver Kay Johnson had 5 catches, 61 yards. And wide receiver Amari Rogers had 3 catches, 55 yards, and a touchdown. Defensively, the Stallions had 3 sacks, 1 interception, 1 fumble recovery. They won the turnover battle. They won the offensive battle. They won the game 26-3. Birmingham Stallions at 4-2. San Antonio Brahmas are in last place in the XFL Conference at 1-5. We lose one more game. We're out of the playoff run for all logistical reasons. After this year, it's probably merciful that we'll be out of the playoffs, honestly. Birmingham Stallions are tied with Michigan Panthers for 4-2 in the XFL Conference. Boop. Okay, with some updated power rankings. So some things have changed. DC Defenders, they got knocked off. So we got some crazy stuff here, guys. So number 1 in the UFL Power Rankings, the Birmingham Stallions have climbed back to the top of the league at 4-2. They broke their losing streak. They got a big one against the Brahmas. They're not at number 1 because they're all that great. They're just at number 1 because they have the most complete team. Their quarterback situation is a mess, though. They got a lot of guys hurt. They got to protect the quarterback better. Number 2, Michigan Panthers are 4-2. They're ascending. They're coming up. Maybe they'll be number 1. Maybe they should have been number 1 this week, but they beat the DC Defenders. Maybe they should have been it. I've never seen the Michigan Panthers beat the Birmingham Stallions. So if it comes down to the Stallions and Panthers, I'm going to pick the Stallions because I've never seen the Panthers beat the Stallions. Even last year, they lost three times to them. Number 3, DC Defenders are number 3. They're 4-2. St. Louis Battlehawks are 4-2. Those would be your top 2 teams in the XFL Conference if they would be in the playoffs today. If they went to the playoffs, they would be Michigan Panthers and Birmingham Stallions. If it went to the playoffs today in the UFL Conference, they're all 4-2. That's really telling you where you need to be a top-tier team in the league this year. It's 4-2 right now. Arlington Renegades fell flat against the St. Louis Battlehawks. They couldn't get their offense going. They lost to them. They're 3-3. They're outside the playoff picture now. Houston Roughnecks are 3-3. They're in the playoff picture. They're if you do the math, 4-2, 4-2, 3-3. They're a game out of being tied for a playoff spot. So we'll see if they can get over the hump. They're making a run for it. Number 7, Memphis Showboats are 1-5 with a win over the Birmingham Stallions. And that's why they're at 7. And San Antonio Brahmas with a loss to the Birmingham Stallions, but they have a win over DC Defenders. They're 1-5, but it's just a mess. It's a mess for both those teams. That's our UFL Power Rankings. Okay. Next, IFL had a ton of games this weekend. Quad City Steamrollers traveled to the Fisher's Freight. The game was a lot better than I thought it would be, honestly. Fisher's Freight, they're confusing sometimes to watch. They played a really good game. They got their 4th loss in a row, but they did force overtime. Daquan Neal for Quad City Steamrollers did not tear up today. He went 9 for 21, 100 yards, 5 touchdowns, though. 1 interception. He had 9 runs for 24 yards, 1 touchdown. He didn't have a standout game, but he did play solid enough, foreshadowing to get the win. Running back Jared Ware had 8 runs, 30 yards, and a touchdown. He had 1 catch, 2 yards, and a touchdown. That's a pretty good game by Jared Ware. Wide receiver Jordan Vesey, 2 catches, 46 yards, and 2 touchdowns. 1 run for 5 yards and a touchdown. That's a solid game for Jordan Vesey. Kevon Rudd, 5 catches, 37 yards, and a touchdown. And wide receiver Demi Croft, former from San Diego, had 1 catch for 15 yards and a touchdown. So they all, they lit it up. Okay. And Daquan Neal only had the 1 interception. But Fisher's Freight did a good job of hanging in there. Okay. Quarterback Jaya Wright went 6 for 13 for 52 yards and a touchdown. That's not good. But he did have 22 runs for 56 yards and 2 touchdowns. And the key player for the Fisher's Freight, running back Shane Simpson, went there and went 19 runs for 105 yards and 4 touchdowns. He carried the weight for the Fisher's Freight. Oh, that rhymes. Wide receiver Jordan Kress, 4 catches, 31 yards and a touchdown. Fisher's Freight had the lead late in this game, 48-41. They had the lead late in the game, but they allowed Quad City to tie it up in the last minute. Really, with 5 seconds left in the game, Quad City tied it up, went to overtime. Quad City scored on the first play. Boom. Got the extra point. Fisher's Freight could not score, and it's over. Fisher's Freight is now 2-4, 4 straight losses. Quad City is now 6-0. Iowa Barnstormers went to Jacksonville, and Iowa Barnstormers returned to looking like the Iowa Barnstormers. Quarterback James Cahoon went 20 more for 34 for 174 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. Yes, he had that kind of game. Like I said, he went back to being the team I expected him to be. He had 6 runs for 6 yards, but they had no other running game other than that. They're all passing. 4 interceptions, all passing. You're going to lose. Foreshadowing the outcome. Wide receiver Kean Willems had 7 catches, 69 yards, and a touchdown. Keyshawn Taylor, wide receiver, had 7 catches, 59 yards, and a touchdown. Wide receiver Jalen Brown, Ravens or something, 6 catches, 36 yards, and a touchdown. Jacksonville Sharks came out with a vengeance. Quarterback Caleb Barker, 10 for 17, 113 yards, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Not that great by Caleb Barker. 11 runs, 87 yards, 2 touchdowns. Running back Vance Bennett, he carried the weight for the Jacksonville Sharks. 14 runs, 72 yards, 2 touchdowns. Now, counting it up, Caleb Barker had 5 touchdowns. He had 3 interceptions, but he had 5 touchdowns. He had the 2 rushing touchdowns. Okay, that's a pretty good game. Vance Bennett added 2 touchdowns. And wide receiver Jaden Starks, he added 4 catches, 54 yards, and 3 touchdowns. So that's a good game by Jacksonville, and they got back on the winning side. They won the game 53-22, beating the Iowa Barnstormers, which is good to see for the Sharks. I wanted to see them win the East, but their injuries to the running backs was holding them back. But they played a team with no running game, so it did help out. Okay, next, Green Bay Blizzard, Tulsa Oilers. Green Bay Blizzard came out. Remember last time these teams played, they went to 68-68 overtime. Tulsa fumbled the game away in 4th quarter and fumbled the game away again in overtime, allowing the Green Bay Blizzard to win the game. This week, they were in Tulsa. Quarterback Max Myler for the Blizzard went 16 for 30, 129 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. That's the kiss of death. That's what's going to get you a loss right there. Foreshadowing the future. He had 5 runs for 40 yards and a touchdown, but 4 interceptions is not going to work against a good defensive team. Wide receiver T.J. Davis had 5 catches, 44 yards and a touchdown, but 4 interceptions are not going to work. Wide receiver Andre Wilkins had 5 catches, 33 yards and a touchdown, but 4 interceptions are not going to work. Okay, Tulsa Oilers, quarterback T.J. Edwards, fumbling the ball. Last time I played, the Green Bay Blizzard went 10 for 18 for 70 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. He ran the ball 13 times, 42 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's a solid game for T.J. Edwards, and he didn't let the ball roll around when he's trying to make a play. Running back Muhammad Rogers, 14 runs, 78 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's a really solid game by Muhammad Rogers. They controlled the game with the running game. Wide receiver Sheldon Augustine had 3 catches, 12 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's a solid game. Tulsa gets off the losing side against Green Bay. They won the game 46-30. They controlled the pace of the game. This felt like a Tulsa Oilers game. The last time they played, it felt like a Green Bay Blizzard game, and Green Bay won. So Tulsa understood they had to control the clock, slow the game down, and allow Green Bay to make some mistakes. Max Myler helped out, 4 interceptions. Next, Arizona Rattlers faced against the Tucson Sugar Skulls. Remember they played a couple weeks ago, and the Sugar Skulls got beat down, but they made a bunch of changes at quarterback, mainly adding Jorge Reyna, and that made an impact in this game. So Arizona Rattlers, they have not been overly impressive at quarterback. Quarterback Dalton Sneed went 9 for 22, 148 yards, 4 touchdowns and 1 interception. Not horrible, but not good. Not as good as he has played in the past. He had 2 runs for 4 yards. Usually, if he had a bad game like 9 for 22, he would come out and run for like over 100 yards. But he did not do that. Running back Shannon Brooks had 10 runs for 49 yards and a touchdown. Too little, too late. Wide receiver Isaiah Huston, 4 catches, 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. If you're keeping up with my comments in between, I think you know when to win this game, which is a very surprising outcome. Quarterback Jorge Reyna went 15 for 29, 142 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. That's the winning number, no interceptions. He also had 4 runs for 28 yards. Devontae Sapp Lynch, Marshawn Lynch's little brother, Beast Mode's little brother, son or something, I don't know. 7 runs, 35 yards. Wide receiver Larry Harrington, who got traded from Arizona, 8 catches, 61 yards, 3 touchdowns. That's a big game. Wide receiver Alphonso Taylor. I think it's Alfonso, but the website said Alfonso, so we'll see. 2 catches, 49 yards, and a touchdown. Tucson Sugar Skulls upset at home. The Arizona Rattlers in the Boneyard. That's a big win for the Tucson Sugar Skulls. That's a huge win over the Arizona Rattlers, knocking them off. And I mentioned on the power rankings, Rattlers will be at the top until they get knocked off, but they got knocked off. Ooh, that's some foreshadowing right there of the power rankings. Next, Northern Arizona Wranglers traveled to the Vegas Nighthawks. Arizona Wranglers came in a winless team. Vegas Nighthawks came in. The team is struggling more than they should with the talent they have, but their offense is too one-dimensional with Jerome Johnson, and that came back to bite them this game. Is that foreshadowing the outcome? We'll have to find out. Okay, well, quarterback Caleb Lowe for the Northern Arizona Wranglers, new quarterback for them, 15 for 26, 146 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 runs. -2 yards, so he's not a runner. Running back Nolan Susel, 9 runs, 10 yards, 3 touchdowns. That's a pretty good rate, man. 10 yards, 3 touchdowns. I'll take it. He's a short yardage guy for him. Wide receiver Deshaun Stoudemire, 7 catches, 70 yards, no touchdowns. Wide receiver Jamal Couch, 2 catches, 30 yards, 1 touchdown. And wide receiver Kobe Smith, 1 catch, 30 yards, 1 touchdown. Okay, solid game. Quarterback played better. That's the best quarterback play the Wranglers have had this year. Vegas Nighthawks came out. Quarterback Jerome Johnson, the one-man army, 7 for 9, 55 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. That's not a great game. And here's a big number, 6 runs for -40 yards. So what they did, they followed the game plan. Wranglers kept him contained, pressured him, forced him to throw the ball, and he did not play that well. 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. He did not carry the game on the ground, though. And that's what you got to do to beat the Vegas Nighthawks, is not let Jerome Johnson run all over you. Actually, they shut him down so much, the Vegas Nighthawks brought in Jaden DeLaura, controversial quarterback from Arizona, I believe. 7 for 13. He went 7 for 13, 85 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He had 4 runs for 26 yards and a touchdown. It's a good game by Jaden DeLaura. He did passed the ball not as good. Ran the ball a little better. Quarterback, he might be very similar to Jerome Johnson. I guess they have 2 Jerome Johnsons, I guess, now. Running back Antonio Winbush, former Iowa Barnstormer, had 9 runs for 15 yards. Nothing impressive there. Wide receiver Quentin Randolph had 3 catches, 49 yards and a touchdown. And wide receiver Tamarian Terry had 5 catches, 41 yards, and 3 touchdowns. That's a big game, 3 touchdowns. Vegas Nighthawks picked up the win. To get back on the winning side of things, Northern Arizona Wranglers go to 0-5, but they made it close, 37-43 in the desert. They made it close. Okay, and that's getting better. San Diego Strike Force traveled to the Bay Area Panthers. I mentioned in this game I thought the Bay Area Panthers defense was going to win the game for the Bay Area Panthers. We'll see what happened. Quarterback Nate Davis for San Diego Strike Force went 18 for 29 for 177 yards. He threw 1 touchdown and 3 interceptions. Yeah, if you're a passing team, you can't throw 3 interceptions, y'all. Running back Rudy Johnson ran the ball 8 carries for 23 yards and 2 touchdowns. He got some touchdowns. Edward Vander, 5 runs, 11 yards, 1 touchdown. Dallas Daniel, 5 catches, 61 yards and a touchdown. The big number there, Nate Davis, 3 interceptions. You can't be a passing team and throw 3 interceptions and expect to win a game. Foreshadowing. For the Bay Area Panthers, quarterback who's won every game since they lost the first game of the year. Mental note. They've won every game since then. They're on a pretty good streak. Quarterback Josh Jones went 11 for 18 for 175 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. That's a good game. 8 runs, 24 yards. Running back Joshua Thomas, he had 7 runs for 37 yards and 3 touchdowns, 3 catches, 60 yards, and another touchdown. Wide receiver Trayvon Alexander, 2 catches, 41 yards, and a touchdown. And wide receiver R.C. McLean, senior, 2 catches, 24 yards, and a touchdown. I mean, that's a good game by Bay Area. Bay Area won the game, 57-34. It's because of Nate Davis' 3 interceptions. You can't turn the ball over. It's going to be a passing team. Okay, next, IFL Power Rankings. Things have changed. Arizona Rattlers got knocked off, so some things have changed. Okay, number 1, the new number 1 in IFL Power Rankings is the Quad City Steamwheelers, a 6-0. They've made it to the top. Okay, number 2 is the Arizona Rattlers. They're still near the top, 4-1. They lost Tucson, but I mean, Tucson's made a lot of changes. Number 3, Bay Area Panthers are 4-1. I thought about putting Bay Area over Arizona, but I'm just not ready to do that yet. I feel like Bay Area's been beating up on bad teams. Arizona got knocked off. This next week's going to tell us a lot about Arizona and Bay Area, most likely. Number 4, Jacksonville Sharks got back on the winning side. They're at number 4, 4-2. They're sitting there. It's a 2 spot. They have a chance. They'll probably make the playoffs this year and have a chance to make a run. Number 5, Vegas Nighthawks. They would be in the 3rd place in the Western Conference right now. They're 3-2. They're hanging on. Number 6, Tulsa Oilers are back in front of the Green Bay Blizzard after picking up a win. They're 3-2. They've been the number 3 seed in the Eastern side right now after this playoff starting, which is only midway through the season. Number 7, Green Bay Blizzard are 3-4. They're dropped below Tulsa now. Number 8, Tucson Sugar Skulls are 2-3. They beat the Arizona Rattlers to get them at number 8. They would be in the playoffs for Western Conference if the playoffs started today, which is far away. It's still, more than half the season left for Tucson. Number 9, San Diego Strike Force fell to 2-3. They've lost a couple games in a row since being 2-1. Mass Pirates are 2-3. They didn't play. Fisher's Freight are 2-3. 2-4. Sorry, they lost 4 games in a row, starting off 2-0. They're crashing hard. Iowa, but the only thing holding them up is that they beat Mass Pirates. Okay, did they beat Mass Pirates? No, they didn't. They beat Tulsa. I don't know. I probably should put the Fisher Freight lower. I think if they played Iowa again, they were going to beat them. So I put Iowa there. Fisher Freight at 11 and Iowa at 12. But it's a toss-up between those teams. I think Fisher Freight are crashing hard though, so they'll probably be at the bottom soon enough. Number 13, it's feeling like an expansion team now. Number 13, Iowa Barnstormers, number 12 at 1-3. Number 13, San Antonio Gunslingers, looking like an expansion team, 1-4. Their head coach left. He's now the head coach of the Massachusetts Pirates. So that's a really bad side for San Antonio when your coach leaves mid-season and goes to another team. He's now the head coach of the Massachusetts Pirates, okay? Northern Arizona Wranglers are 0-5. They look like an expansion team. So they almost have a chance to win this year. NAL, Shreveport Rougarou played way better than I expected to play against the Beaumont Renegades. I expected them to lose by about 10 points. Rougarou! Okay, so Rougarou! Quarterback Guillermo Serrano went 15 for 27, 167 yards, 5 touchdown passes, 2 interceptions, 2 runs, 24 yards. That's a great game. Wide receiver Denari Antoine, he had 9 runs for 49 yards and 2 touchdowns. Wide receiver Kayvon Samuels, 2 catches, 32 yards, 2 touchdowns. Wide receiver Rashad Ridley, 2 catches, 46 yards, 2 touchdowns. Wide receiver John Wilkes, not Booth, 5 catches, 54 yards and a touchdown. That's a really good game by Shreveport, okay. Beaumont Renegades have beaten every team they faced so far. Quarterback Robinson the third went 11 for 17, 169 yards and 6 touchdown passes. Guillermo Serrano had 5 touchdowns. You got a lot of going on, but the 2 interceptions are a huge difference maker for the Beaumont Renegades. Wide receiver, foreshadowing. Wide receiver Vincent Williams, 9 catches, 54 yards, 3 touchdowns. The Beaumont Renegades did not run the ball well in this game, but they did pass the crap out of the ball. Wide receiver Zuri Davis, 2 catches, 21 yards, 2 touchdowns. Running back Kyler Heron, 2 catches, 42 yards, and 1 touchdown. What happened in that game? A shootout, wild quarterback play, but 2 interceptions from Shreveport, Rougarou, and Beaumont gets away with a home win, 55-54. That's as close as it gets, y'all. Close as it gets. Okay, so Shreveport's still in second place. They're 2-3. Columbus is 2-3. Wheeling. We'll talk about Wheeling in a second, I guess. Okay. Next, in a technically non-league game, but I think it counts for the Omaha Beefs record. They beat the Dallas Force 70-0. I said 54-10, but 70-0 after butt kicking. Okay. Wheeling Miners tried with the Colorado Spartans. Quarterback Grant Russell, 8 for 18, 115 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, 9 runs, 30 yards, 2 touchdowns. Wide receiver Jeremy Platts, he had 5 catches, 61 yards, and a touchdown. That's all they had going. That's a bad sign. Grant Russell was all the points. 1 touchdown pass and 2 touchdown runs. He was the man. Colorado Spartans, who are they're playing their best football I've ever seen them play. Andre Sale went 17, your quarterback. Andre Sale went 17 for 28, 122 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. 2 interceptions normally hurt your team. But running back Alexis Rosario went 17 runs for 65 yards, 3 touchdowns. He also caught the ball 5 times, 45 yards, and another touchdown. Wide receiver Stephen Newbold Jr. had 4 catches, 12 yards, and a touchdown. That's a great game by Colorado. They got down early. They came back and won the game, 41-25. Boom. Okay, next, Sioux City Bandits played the Idaho Horsemen. I predicted Sioux City would win that game convincingly, and we'll see what happened. Quarterback Berlin Reed for the Sioux City Bandits went 4 for 7. That's not a lot of passing. 105 yards and 3 touchdowns. Quarterback Tyler Lowenstein went 4 for 5, 83 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's a lot of touchdowns. Not a lot of passing yards, but a lot of touchdowns. That's they had a short field. That's the thing. They had a short field. Okay. Running back for the Bandits went 11 runs for 80 yards and 3 touchdowns. That's huge. That's if you're not going to be able to pass the ball, Bill, you can be able to run it. And wide receiver Fred Brown, 3 runs for 31 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's a really solid game from Sioux City. They put the ball in the end zone over and over again. Idaho Horsemen hosting the game. Quarterback Giovanni something or other went 20 for 37, 189 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 9 runs, 42 yards, and a touchdown. That's a solid game. Wide receiver Kyler Harper. Kyler Harper went 3 catches, 8 yards, and a touchdown. That's not a lot of yardage on his 3 catches, 8 catches. No, he had 3 runs for 8 yards and a touchdown, 8 catches for 78 yards. And wide receiver, they had a couple more touchdowns there. So what happened? Idaho couldn't run the ball. Sioux City could run the ball. They had a balanced offense. They win the game 78-42. That's the best way to win a game. Have a balanced offense. Play some defense. Okay. New NAL Power Rankings after we went 4-0. Boop, boop, impressive 4-0. I got number 1. Beaumont Renegades are still at the top, 5-0. They held off the Shreveport Rougarou. If they were beaten by the Rougarou, that would have been huge. Wolfie D would have went crazy. Number 2, Omaha Beef. Smack around Dallas Falcons. They're still number 2, 5-1. Colorado Spartans are now legit 5-2. They're number 3 in the league. They'd be in the playoffs right now on the Beef and the Renegades. Number 4, Sioux City Bandits are 3-3. I mean, they're better than bad, and they're not as good as great. So they're in the middle there. 5, Shreveport Rougarou, their highest ranking so far. They're 2-3. They might be the favorite to be the second playoff team in the American Conference. 6, Idaho Horsemen, 3-4. I mean, they play a solid game. They can't run the ball. And limits you, kind of like Iowa Barnstormers in the IFL. Columbus Lions, they didn't play this week. They're 2-3. Right now, in my mind, they're going down because they lost to Colorado. Colorado's pretty good, so we'll see. Number 8, Wheelie Miners went 2-4. And they're crashing, man. They're crashing. Only thing they beat were the Carolina Cobras, and they're done. That's the power rankings in the NAL. Next, NFL news. Kansas City Chiefs first-round draft pick, offensive tackle Josh Simmons from Ohio State has signed officially with the Kansas City Chiefs as they prepare for rookie minicamp coming up. He signed for a 4-year contract for $14,675,353. That's a real specific number. Washington, D.C. will host the 2027 NFL Draft at the Washington Monument in the National Mall. Buffalo Bills, they officially signed wide receiver Elijah Moore, giving the Cleveland Browns a compensatory pick. Baltimore Ravens said they were going to make a football decision on Justin Tucker, and he is fired. Goodbye. We'll explain why in a second. Cleveland Browns linebacker Devin Bush. He's arrested for harassment charges. They're asking a bunch of Cleveland Browns, what happened, so they can press charges on him. San Francisco 49ers quarterback Brock Purdy. He's expected to get his signing. It's now down to $50 million per season in the near future. He's down from $60 to $70 million, down to $50 million. It's getting better, but he's still not the top 10 quarterback in the league. I think they'd be able to pay him for him, but that's good for them. Bad for the Bengals, but they're not doing that. LA Rams quarterback Matt Stafford. He has agreed to a contract extension. He's going to make $44 million this year. $4 million has already been paid to him. $40 million guaranteed. That's a pretty good contract. Okay. Baltimore Ravens, like I said, have officially released Justin Tucker, why? Well, from 2012 to 2016, he went to 16 massage therapy places and had 8 sexual complaints against him. Yikes. Okay. And that's like Deshaun Watson, but way less, and he's gone. If you're a kicker and you're, doing weird stuff, you're gone. LA Rams signed wide receiver Britton Covey, 1-year deal. Okay. NBL, European League of Football, Stuttgart Surge. They re-signed star wide receiver Louis Geyer. He's the all-time receiving leader in the Elves, 2,854 yards. And he's tied with wide receiver Reese Horn for all-time receiving touchdowns. So, that's a good pickup for Stuttgart. They're going to keep moving forward. I think they have a chance to win it all this year. In the CFL, more draft picks are signed. There's a ton of signings. BC Lions signed global kicker Mark McNamee. They signed national linebacker Chase Tatarin. They signed national running back Lucas Stikos. They signed American wide receiver Jared Gibson from Sacramento State. They signed defensive back Finley Jackson from West Virginia. Calgary Stampeders. They signed national defensive back Anton Hay. They signed national linebacker Nicky Alexander Faracinacho from Manitoba, and his name is Nicky. That's weird. Edmonton, they signed national defensive back Romeo Nash. They signed national wide receiver Colby Hubbard. They signed national wide receiver Jackson Chakowski. They released national offensive lineman Tomas Jack Karina. I don't know. They signed national defensive lineman Silas Heiler from Queens. They signed national running back Gillette Rory from Alberta. They signed American running back Dwayne McFord from UAB. Okay. And they signed national running back Danny Hasselar from Guelph. Okay. Hamilton Ticats, they have a reworked contract of wide receiver Luther Hakanaranu. The national wide receiver, they're keeping him, but they reduced his pay so they can pay some other guys. They signed national offensive lineman or defensive lineman Isaac Bagnaw from BYU, who's a draft pick. They signed American tight end Cameron McDonald, who's bounced around a little bit. He played at Florida State. They signed national offensive lineman Arvin Hosseini, who played at UBC as a draft pick. They needed that depth. They signed national defensive back Jake Nidachorak, who played at Manitoba. He's a draft pick. Montreal IUS signed American wide receiver Jordan Vesey. Okay, yep. They signed American wide receiver. No. That's it. Okay. Ottawa Red Blacks. They signed American running back Elijah Collins, played at Oklahoma State. They signed national defensive back Charlie Ringland, who played at Saskatchewan. They signed American defensive lineman Jason Williams, who played somewhere. I don't know. They signed national defensive back King Antoine, Texas A&M Commerce. They retired national DB Tunde Elike from Carlson, who used to play for the Hamilton Ticats. He's done. Okay. Saskatchewan signed a bunch of people. They signed a lot of draft picks. National linebacker Seth Hundaby. National fullback Nathan Gerard Langlois. Okay. National wide receiver Brandon Messeri. American defensive lineman Kendry Charles, played at Duke. National wide receiver Daniel Wiebe. American wide receiver Dre McCray. National wide receiver Ala Kobalu. He played at Windsor. National defensive lineman Liam Haskins played at Windsor. And national defensive back Gideon Aguirre played at Calgary. Toronto Argonauts signed national kicker Dawson Hode. Okay, he played at Wilfrid Laurier. We're going to put Blue Bombers. They signed global punter James Evans, who played at Indiana. American offensive lineman Michael Ty Jr. They signed national linebacker Jalen Smith, and American wide receiver Scotty Brown, and American kicker Andrew Mevis, who kicked for the Birmingham Stallions yesterday. Now he's with Winnipeg. That's how the world turns in spring football. So that's our show for tonight. We went to the Power Rankings UFL. We blew it up this week with our predictions. Me and Wolfie D are killing it, so we're going to be back at it next week. This week, we also have a bunch of articles about the Bengals preparing for mini camps. Rookie mini camp for them opens on May 9th, Friday. And then CFL training camps open. That's why those are the signings. Training camp opens for rookies on Wednesday, May 7th. So that's the deal there. That'll be some news. We'll see how it goes. Have a great night. Remember, check out UFL News Hub, CFL News Hub for articles, footballanalysis1.com. I'll put a bunch of new content on there this week. And then like the channel, subscribe. Let's get it done. Football Scientific Portal is closed. Good night.